Alright, we're back everybody. Now today I'm going to call bullshit on another news article that I'm reading here. Trying to make small talk and making it work for you. Basically, that's what this is all about. You know guys, this is the problem here. A lot of people are having problems with dating at the moment. Or you know what, not even just dating. Friendships. Trying to form relationships with people for business. I mean, anything. This episode should work for all walks of life. This lady's trying to go on about some fucking how to make small talk. She's talking out of her ass. I mean, why do these people do this? I'm going to try and help you guys as best as I can, okay, when it comes to talking to people. Now, this will help for relationships. This will help with business, with just friends in general, meeting new people for friendships or whatever it is. Jeez, I got a cobweb. What the hell? I got a cobweb in the studio. What the hell's going on here? I haven't cleaned the thing the other day. Okay, so I'm going to move on here. So guys, yeah, the heading. How do these people get these online articles? Does anyone proofread these articles? Like, they're giving us sort of kind of obvious answers, right? And I'll even say one thing, you know, you could say, okay, right, well, fair enough. What is this lady actually saying? Okay, but she's, okay, this is sounding alright. But they just leave it at that. They just kind of mention it and then they just move on. Well, look, hey, let's check it out, alright? So today's episode. Here's the heading. Here's the number way to sound smarter when making small talk. Now, this is from, get this, Harvard and Wharton researchers. Yeah, I said Harvard. Fucking Harvard, are you kidding me? Jesus Christ. I'm not going to mention the article or who the person is or what paper when I get sued. But guys, firstly, that is hypocrisy. Now, hear me out. If you're trying to make small talk with somebody, it's small talk. In other words, if you're good at talking to people or you get used to it and you get better and better, well then your small talk isn't small talk anymore. Yeah? It's not small talk anymore. This is about being confident or knowing who you are. Now I'm going to get into that now in just a small little bit. So, she starts off in saying, making small talk with somebody you've just met can be terrifying. Yeah, understandable, okay. Common sense tells us we need to convince the other person that we're smart, so we casually drop our job title, education, and accomplishments. Really? Do people think that? Jesus, I don't think I've ever tried to go into a conversation with the intent of, right, I'm gonna make sure John thinks I'm really fucking smart. Not at all. That's not how you want to, as she says, small talk your way into this. Guys, if you're trying to actually get friendly with somebody, the last thing you do is try and come across smart. The last thing you do is trying to come across dumb. The last thing you try and do is come across like an asshole or a nice guy. In other words, the point is this. You're working off what the other person gives you. That's what a connection is about. If you've got it in your head that you've got to sound smart to somebody, now all of a sudden you're going in with a motive. In other words, if they say one thing here, you might then sort of drift around because your motivation and goal is for them to think you're smart. And all of a sudden you can probably sound like you're full of shit. And you're in your head. You're not connecting with the other person. I mean, have you ever just had a chat with somebody and you know when you're sort of like even 2 minutes into the conversation you're going, Jesus, I didn't think I'd be talking about this. All of a sudden it just goes south or north, east, west, whatever way it goes. That's real connection because you're coming from a truthful place. Having a motivation and saying, I want her to think I'm sounding smart. That's total bollocks. That's total bollocks. Yeah, of course you want them to think you're smart. Who wouldn't, right? That's just a natural thing. But you don't go in with the conscious approach of, right, I want to make sure now Peter thinks I'm smart or John thinks I'm smart, whatever. you're putting yourself in your head. You're not relaxing because you're using their answers or questions back to you, and then using that to actually edit what you're about to say next. Guy, no. Like, okay, we're gonna start off, right? I did a few episodes on how to talk to women. All right, now some of you are thinking, who the fuck are you, Peter? You fucking Mr. Love himself. No, it's not that. Guys, how to talk to women the best way possible. If you are the quiet guy, the nerdy quiet guy, you be the quiet nerdy guy. There's too many people trying to be a certain level of maturity, hotness, intelligence, whatever you want to call it, right? And that's where you fuck up because you're raising the bar so high that all of a sudden you then do start to get nervous or anxious. You just gotta be you. If you're the quiet nerdy guy, you be the quiet nerdy guy. And guess what? If you're into women, if you're trying to chat up a woman, guess what happens? A lot of women love the quiet nerdy guy because you're not a threat. Do you get what I mean? As in they can feel more relaxed around you. James Bond, so to speak, doesn't always get the chick. Because James Bond can come across as the cocky or confident or charming guy, and there's a Bond is talking to a woman, right? And all of a sudden women are going, oh, I wonder how many women he's fucking talked to tonight. Or how many women he's had sex with the last couple of weeks. Am I just another number? Now, there's some girls that love that type of guy out there as well. Right? So you've got to be who you are, because believe you me, there's plenty of people that love the quiet guy, the James Bond type. Now, I know I'm saying James Bond, guys, but, you know, there is the type of James Bond type of guy out there. You know what I mean. So you've got to work from where you start off with. Because the moment you try and be from the nerdy quiet guy to Mr. fucking James Bond, you're fucked. Okay? It's not in you. That's not you. And guess what happens? You start to get nervous. You start to get a bit anxious because you're feeling a bit scared, threatened by the girl or guy or whoever it is. And then all of a sudden then you can't match up to being James Bond today. It's a lot of effort. You've got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Be extremely confident being not confident. I hope that makes sense, guys. So let's move on here a little bit. So she's going on really, but seeking advice actually makes you look smarter. Now, I'll give her that. Right? I'll give the journalist this now. There's nothing wrong with asking people for advice or help or what do you think? If anything, it helps to build a connection with that person, right? Because you're coming to the table, you're not trying to be Mr. fucking I know everything or Mrs. I know everything. You're actually being upfront, open and honest, and the last thing you are is a threat to that person. Because you're being open and honest. You're being, in a way, you're being vulnerable. So I'll give her that. Now, to be honest, I'm not even going to read a lot of the stuff what she's going on about. But, okay. She moves on, and how to be an excellent advice seeker. Now, ask a lot of questions. Sure, okay. I get that part. Now, when it comes to the dating world, I wouldn't be asking too many questions if you're on a dating app. The too many questions comes from when you meet the person. Because believe me, as we all know, I think, if you ask too many questions or you give a life story on a dating app, well, all of a sudden the person thinks, oh, they're very keen, aren't they? Jeez. But like, okay, number 2 she has, banish the fear. One of the biggest obstacles to making an approach is anxiety. Right, well, I'd give her that. The anxiety of trying to be someone else or trying to be Mr. Bond here, right? That can give you anxiousness. Now, she says, the executives felt anxious and jittery beforehand when they did try and actually put on a bit of an act. Now, when they were interviewed afterward, these executives now, not only did they report getting great advice. 90% of them said the experience was enjoyable and fun. Okay, yeah, she's a bit all over the place here with this article. She's on about basically that, you drop the act, you ask a lot of questions, you be open. Well then, it was enjoyable and fun. And this is what I'm on about, guys. You don't go in and try to be the smartest guy in the room. And let's be honest, do you know when, believe me, and hey, I think we all know a lot of people in the world that they go around trying to act really fucking smart and clever, and in fact, if anything, some people can just throw jabs at you, like, oh yeah, look at you. Like they're so fucking smart and clever. Do we really like being around those people? Really? Like, you may want something from them, yeah, and you're gonna hang out with them, and they may be funny or a little bit that, but all of a sudden they've got that condescending attitude to you. Well, that's not fun being around, is it? Unless you've got a fantasy of, and you like when people put you down, because that's really all about you. You actually feel you're not enough, so therefore they're reminding you, reassuring you, confirming to you that you're not enough. But that's not helping you. That's just reminding what you think already. Anyway, that's another day. But here's the thing, guys. Banishing the fear. And I'm going to definitely say she's wrong on this one. Now, you work off from where you start. Your starting point is where you start off with. In other words, if James Bond, the James Bond types out there, if they go up and talk to a woman, well, are they going to be anxious, nervous? Well, maybe. Depending on the day, maybe they're tired or, whatever. Maybe just, oh my God, she's a drop-dead gorgeous woman. Maybe. But maybe not. Either way, you start from your starting point. If you are anxious and tired, start off the anxiousness part. Like, let yourself be anxious. Totally okay. And let's say you are anxious going up to a girl, right? Now, what if you are anxious and you stumble upon your words? So what happens then? Hey, my name is Peter, and all of a sudden you're fumbling around your words. Maybe that girl actually likes that, that they love, like, oh, that's kind of cute. Like, you look at him, he's had the balls to come over to me, but he's stumbling along his words. Oh, well, you're certainly not a threat to them, so bang, tick the box. That's a great way to start off, right? Now, then there's some girls that mightn't like that at all. But that's okay. You can't get everybody in the world. Jesus. Like, guys, I've talked to a lot of women in my life. Come up out of nowhere. Hey, how's it going? I'm Peter, or whatever, right? But I'd start the conversation. And I've done it so much that some people think, oh, well, this guy, fucking hell, confidence as hell. But some days, guys, I am anxious, or I am nervous going up to that girl. Still to this fucking day. The only difference is I just keep going. I just keep fucking going. I'll do it. I'll fucking do it. And I don't put any pressure on myself. If I come across anxious, nervous, well, maybe she'll like it. It's coming from a place of truth. So my point is here, she's saying get rid of the fear. I say the opposite. You hang on to that fucking fear. Right? Now, let's say you're going on a date, okay? And an hour before you leave your apartment to your house, you're sitting on your bed and you're all ready to go because in fact you got ready so fast because you're anxious and you're terrified out of your mind. Sit there, lie there, and let it consume you. Let it pour through your body. Be aware, be self-aware. I always go on about being self-aware online. You're probably sick of me saying it already, but I'm always going to repeat it. Be self-aware of how you're feeling. And funnily enough, if you just let it pass through your body, you will relax. And remember, even if you go in a stumbling mess into the date, maybe the guy or girl's going to like it. I'm telling you guys, there's a lot to be said for a nervous, anxious person on a date. There's a lot to be said for it. There's some great elements out of it. You're fucking human. I mean, they're not going to be intimidated by you, right? Like, have you ever stumbled upon someone who's threatened and intimidated by someone who's anxious and nervous around you? No. If anything, you're like, God love them. No, not in a bad way, you know, but it's like, it's cute, you know? So guys, and okay, and I'm going to close this off now in a few minutes, but here's what I would suggest. If you do start talking to people, there's one good way of doing it, right? Let's say, if I'm in a bar or nightclub tonight, and I want to go talk to a girl, I never go up and say, "Hi, I'm Peter. What's your name?" That's too on the spot. Way too on the spot. Now, this works for the James Bond types, and this works for the quiet, nerdy guys too. Believe you me, this method. Okay? It's so simple. What I do is if I'm standing next to a girl, okay, and let's say we're in the smoking room, we're having a cigarette, but I don't know her, right? But she's end up next to me. Well, I mean, I'll take a look at her dress, or I'll take a look around the room, see if there's the drunken guy over in the corner, everybody's laughing at it or whatever, or if she's got a gorgeous dress on. Okay? I'm bypassing all that introduction horse shit. Okay? Let her ask you what your name is. If she's interested, she'll probably ask you. It's a bit of mystery. So what I say is, let's say she's got a gorgeous dress. I see that dress there. That kind of sounded sleazy, did it? No money. But like, you kind of go, oh, right. So I see, dress, you got that, did you get that in that clothes shop? Zara? Or wherever it is? I think I saw that actually, actually my sister's got the same dress. Looks good new. Something like that. Change up the conversation. That's a nice little subtle way of just taking the spotlight directly off you and her, because trust me, if you ask a girl, so hey, what's your name? I'm Peter. Like, all of a sudden the girl's calculating, she's like, oh jeez, okay, and now she might be interested in you, but she's still on the spot. You want her to relax, you want the guy to relax around you. So, or if there's the drunk guy in the, and he's making a mess out of himself, or he's making fun out of himself, right? And everybody in the smoking room is kind of sniggering, laughing, because he's just funny, right? You could say, like, turn around and go, jeez, I wonder what he was drinking. I want a bit of that. What do you think? No introduction, just you're starting almost like mid-conversation. It's like you've met them already, you've gone to the toilet, you've come back, and you're picking up the conversation where you left off. It's always a great way. Okay, let me just think of something else. Random out of my head now. So let's say there's a weird bouncer, okay? And he's, sort of looking around, and he's a power-hungry dickhead, right? And, he's in a bad mood, and you're like, what's wrong with that fella? Like, and everybody knows, right? Well, hey, fuck it. Even if she doesn't know the girl or guy, you could just turn and go, Jesus, did you ever see this guy? What's up with this fella? He's always in a bad mood, isn't he? Have you ever noticed this? Bang, conversation started. Just use what you have around you. You know what I mean? Look, guys, I hope it helps. It's a short podcast today. And I love you all, guys. And I'll be back again soon. Cheers.